Hello, 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 sellers. Come on in. Come on in. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. And my tip for you today in my video is going to be a super tip on how you can make more money selling on eBay. So it's a money-making tip, right? So yay, yay, yay. So we're going to get right to it. So I'm going to date this. It's August 7th, 2023. And depending on where you are in the United States, you'll know this or you may not know this. But a lot of schools in the South have already gone back to school. I have a dear friend in Texas who's a school bus monitor. Hello, Paula. And from being friends with her, I know that in her district in Texas, they went back to school this week. And I bring this up for you, my eBay seller friends, because your area may not go back to school for quite some time. For instance, here in New York City, we don't go back to school until after Labor Day. So why be thinking about back to school as a money-making sales tip for eBay sellers? And I will tell you why. Because back to school is a huge, huge, huge multi-million dollar, what they call retail moment. And that means it's very, very busy online, very, very busy in stores with people specifically coming in to look to shop for back to school. And yes, they're coming onto eBay for back to school. And in case you're thinking, well, back to school, depending again on what your school life was like, things that you needed to buy, is this varies hugely. And back to school is pre-K, first grade. You know, it's all the younger children, all the way through junior high, all the way through high school, all the way through college. I remember a very large retailer in the city. They actually had special shopping days and shopping times in their store just for the back to school shoppers for the colleges in the area. So you had to show school ID to be admitted to the store during these shopping times. And they gave them special discounts, special coupons, delivery. So, I mean, it is huge. And again, all ages, because you may have things that are suitable for high school, or you may have things that are suitable for younger kids. And don't forget that teachers shop for back to school and parents shop. So as they're shopping for their kids for back to school, they also shop for themselves. One huge category for back to school is backpacks. And I wanted to show you some things about how to use Terapeak to be looking at this category. Because backpacks is not necessarily just like, I think of backpacks, you think of like younger children. It might be animated, you know, with various Disney characters. Here in New York, the kids that are older, I see a lot of JanSport. I see a lot of the North Face. And again, here in New York, I see a lot of black. Black is the color for backpacks. If you're able to source those I see for city kids. But what I see is, I mean, backpack is a huge category for back to school and for all ages. Business people buy backpacks. Again, as I'm walking around New York, I see a lot of the tourists with backpacks. That's how they're carrying things. I see business people with backpacks because they prefer to have the weight even. Very, very stylish designer backpacks, very small backpacks, very large backpacks, like the kind of things that a hiker would use. But eBay has great information on backpacks, what's selling, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because backpacks are huge during back to school, but they're also huge all year long. And it's something because there's such a variety of styles and such a variety of trends, something to keep an eye out for no matter where you source, whether you're sourcing at thrift stores, whether you're sourcing at estate sales, whether you're able to do what's called retail arbitrage, which is I go into a regular brick and mortar store. One of my favorites is Macy's. They have the greatest clearance racks, and look for backpacks. And we're going to look at Terapeak, what it's going to show you, and also to give you some ideas of things you may not have considered that sell well within the backpack category. So if you're not aware of this, because this changed in the past couple of years, all eBay sellers have Terapeak. It is free to all sellers. It is in your Seller Hub. So let's hop over to Seller Hub. And when you log into Seller Hub, what you're going to do is look at your research tab. And when you click your research tab, you will see that you have access to Terapeak. And we're going to do within research, we're looking at Terapeak product research. And all I did was type in backpack, okay? Now, when you type in, and this could be true for anything, but we're going to do backpack. You use shoulder bags, hobo bags, T-shirts, vintage T-shirts, rock and roll shoes, anything you want, you type in, and then you have a filter to the right with times that you can filter. And what I was looking at with backpacks is I wanted to look at an entire year, because I wanted to see with backpacks, for instance, let's say I've got 10 or 15 backpacks I want to list. Then I'm going to want to go and look and see, when do you get the best price, okay? Because it might be seasonal. This is very good to do with something like Christmas ornaments. If you sell Valentine's Day items, if you have items, Halloween, fall items, to look and see, is there a big price spike right at the holiday or the season for it, like winter boots? When do winter boots spike? Because I want to make sure that they're listed. Also to keep an eye on price, because if I'm going into peak season, I might be able to mark things up and get them sold. Always nice to make money. So I'm going to look at Terapeak. I put in backpack and I put in 1 year. So I just put in last year. And I could filter by 2 years. I could do much sooner. But I wanted to see if there was any big trend with backpacks. And look, you've got all kinds of filters here, by the way. So here I can search by bags, backpacks and bags, women's bags and handbags, backpacks, okay? You can sort by condition. Look at this. New, other, new with defects, certified refurbished, seller refurbished, okay? There's all kinds of filters. Format. This is fascinating because you'd be surprised sometimes things sell better in auction. So always take a look at formats when you're getting ready to list. Price filter. So you know in the price range that your item is, what was the sell-through rate, which is how fast they're selling, okay, and for what. And also, if you only want to see listings from top-rated sellers or to exclude top-rated sellers. And then over here to the right, you've got even more filters. I can search by buyer locations and seller locations if that's of interest to me. But I did a very broad general search on backpacks, because this is something that a lot of sellers can source for back to school, with the question being, does it sell year round, or are backpacks strictly seasonal? Or they might sell, for instance, right now, because it's back to school now through like mid-late September. And then maybe they have another surge like around Christmas that people would buy them as gifts, okay? So I did that. And obviously, I mean, huge price range, which is fun. Average sale price is $60. Interesting here on free shipping. So 56% of the backpacks, and again, very broad, and you're going to want to filter down when you're listing yours, was a little over half do free shipping. So that's something to consider, whether free shipping is going to work for you. Total sold, total sellers, okay? Now, this is what I found really, really helpful with Terapeak. So I'm searching, back to the top. Is it something that is strictly seasonal? And the answer is no. And isn't that interesting? Really steady sells all throughout the year. So people, and again, you think about it because they might break their strap, I'm traveling, whatever. So backpacks sell year round. But what I do encourage you to do, for instance, if it's a designer backpack, if it's a new with tags backpack, if it's a higher ticket backpack, perhaps a more used backpack, is then you'd want to go in and filter and see if there's any seasonality to what you're offering. Like, does new with tags sell better at the holidays than it does right now with back to school, or does it sell really well year round? Okay, so this is what I found really interesting. So I typically think of a backpack as, again, 2 straps is on my back. And again, different sizes, smaller, bigger. Again, here in New York, you'll see some that are really the kind that people hike with, and they're using them instead of luggage. You see some very, very small, clearly like just maybe a coin purse is in it, maybe their phone. I mean, very, very small, big range of size. But look at this with Terapeak, is you have tactical backpacks. So that, again, is the very, very big, rugged outdoor. Sling back, chest fanny pack, so more of a sling back. A guitar case, great point. So again, a backpacker carrying for a musical instrument. And I do see that in the city. I will see a backpack sort of carrier for violins, for guitars. So that's good to be reminded. If you see an unusual bag, it might be an instrument carrier. And check that and see how that sells, because that's going to be much more unusual than your typical carrying bag. Again, tactical sling bag, an Adidas bag, and they're calling it a lunch bag. Okay, so maybe that's a smaller bag, but it's in eBay's pulling it in because I did a general search. A laptop backpack. These are great. Is it branded with the brand of the laptop? When you look at it, is it large enough to fit a laptop? So all thumbs up on this. So I wanted to give you ideas on that because, again, we're going into back to school. Backpacks are something that a lot of sellers can source in a lot of different ways. All different ages that use backpacks, very, very wide usage. And again, all different kinds of strap configurations on backpacks, colors on backpacks, price ranges on backpacks, and they sell year-round. It's interesting. They're not just exclusive to the back-to-school season that we're in right now, but there are things that do sell better during back-to-school, and being able to use Terapeak is a really handy way as you're sourcing things, listing things, is to quickly look and see if there's a seasonality to the price and the demand, and that can reflect in your price. And also just to get ideas for sourcing, like, oh, there's all the backpacks that go across the body, more of a lunch bag, smaller ones, larger ones, and musical instruments, all to keep into consideration when you're sourcing, and also when you come across inventory, things that you may not have thought of. Back to school is a huge retail moment, as I mentioned. I mean, you cannot log online now. I'm already seeing back to school ads all over the place when I log into different websites, including eBay, which reminds you how large this retail moment is. And it's not just backpacks that sell during back to school. There's a huge range of products, again, because it's children from very, very young all the way through college and including the teachers. I worked retail over 25 years doing merchandising and displays. And then I also sold on QVC for over 6 years. And I saw what retailers go through preparing and launching their back to school campaigns. And what I've done is I've written a free guide for you all about back to school selling. And it's on my website. So all you do is hop on over to ilovetobeselling.com and grab yourself a copy. I just updated it for this year, 2023. It is the ultimate guide to back to school products, pre-K through college. And grab it and download it, and then look at your inventory and also use it when you're outsourcing. Because again, things like the carriers for musical instruments, that's something I wouldn't have thought about without doing that checking on Terapeak. But I literally have pages and pages of product ideas for you. Again, you might already have it listed and you may not have thought that as a back to school item. So it's a great time to go and just check for your keywords, check on your prices, make sure everything's optimized so you get it sold during the back to school season. And also when you're pricing, like the backpacks, they're not a seasonal item. They sell really well all year long, but then use Terapeak to filter and check your exact variety of backpack. If it is a designer, if it is a more mainstream brand, depending on the size, does it accommodate a computer? And that helps you pick the right price, the right format. We saw generally a little more than half to free shipping. You can take a look at that and see if that works for you. But grab this free guide, the ultimate guide to back to school products, pre-K through college, and get going now because the back to school shoppers are on eBay now looking to browse and to buy. So grab my free guide and get busy and grab all those extra sales. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. Bye-bye, everybody.